let me know.
All right, ready when you are.
All right, welcome to the Charter Review Committee for Town of Millinocket, Wednesday, October 4th, 4:30 p.m. Zoom only. And one of the agenda adjustments right there. And for roll call, we have Richard Angotti, absent. Matt Bragdon,
Present.
Gage Monterey,
He's going to be a little late.
Bob Higgins,
Present by Zoom.
let's see, where am I at? Wally Paul. And Sandy
And one
Sullivan.
Present by Zoom.
And one public member present.
Oh, really? Do we have a name on that?
Mr. Pringle.
Okay, then.
Great.
So our roll call's done. Moving on to the minutes. 8:16. Are those not going to be able to get them?
No, I'm starting to do them in like 2-week cycles or two term cycles. So, and I got 3 to catch up on. I spoke with the manager. I don't know if there was an issue with the last recording or not. It wasn't up last time I checked. I will check again tonight.
There's a problem with it because when I got what's it recorded in those little USB things you plug in there?
Flash drive.
Thumb drive?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, he gave me the original file on thumb drive, and that is just audio, nothing. And you can't get crap out of it. So there's definitely some technical difficulty going on there.
Okay, so that will delete one of the video.
That's the 2 June meetings.
Oh, those weren't the ones that were in question. The ones in question were for August.
8/16.
August 16th. 8/16.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'll have the last meeting by sent to everyone by Friday.
Okay. 9/20. Yeah.
Correct. And if this one's posted in time, I'll have this one done too.
Okay. No problem there then. Do you want to jump right into proofreading, and do you want to jump into the discussion regarding presentation?
Well, before we do any of that, I made some changes based on the email communication we had. Every single page I added draft to, and I changed the name of the file to changes draft. So that way there is no confusion if it is uploaded or I send it to anybody. The local paper has reached out and asked for a copy of the draft. I haven't responded to Brian yet. I wanted to talk with all you guys first before I sent it to him, but assuming that you are okay with it now, I will send it to Brian.
I've been wavering on that. It would be nice to have a legal review before we send it out. But then again, we've done our thing once, twice here or whatever. It'd be nice to get it out to the people, see what they'll know what was us. And if it comes back different from a lawyer, then they'll know what was the lawyers.
I have had several people complain in regards to the process we're taking, and I was very cordial with them and explained that the information that they have received is not accurate in regards to supposedly before we can even discuss changes, it needs to go to the council, and then it was our charter isn't an actual charter or isn't an actual committee. It's not legal. The council's the one that needs to be making these changes, not us. And so there's a lot of miscommunication out there around this entire committee. I don't know if any of you have heard any of it. But I think when we do bring this to the public, or I do send it off to Brian, it needs to be made very clear that we have spoken with legal before we started this, spoken to legal in the middle of it, and everything we are doing is completely legal. And if our legal department has anything else to say, then they will tell us along the way.
Right.
Does it need to go to the council before it's disseminated to like the newspaper?
Well, it's a public document, and that's my problem is I've already shared this document with multiple people. Anybody who's asked about the progress of the charter, I've sent them a copy.
Yeah, that's the point I made. That's the point I made in our emails, was that once we started working on this document in the committee, it's a public document.
Correct.
Because the public is part of our committee. You know what I mean? They can come in, talk.
And all Brian wants is the 7 major changes that we had, and I wasn't really going to break down the whole thing for him. I was just going to send him the entire thing, and he could dissect it himself. But again, I wanted to talk to you all first and see how you felt.
I think just pulling out the additional words that we're putting in, you know, like those 8 sections would be plenty.
Okay.
I mean, if they want to go through the whole thing, they can. They'll have the document. But as far as for us presenting to the council or any, you know, going down that road, getting them to send it on to legal, because that takes their, you know, their direction to do that, the council. So, yeah, we could take those changes that we know that are, I don't believe they're really that big a significance, but yeah, they do change some jobs and timing and things like that. We should pull those out, just present them at the council, and then
that's the plan. I meant in regards to Brian, what you guys wanted. I just want to know if you want me to send the entire document to him and let it be, or if you want me to pull the major changes out.
He didn't formally make it a FOAA and didn't specify exactly what he wanted.
Correct. Well,
Okay.
He specified to the extent he wanted to know the major changes to the charter. And in my response to that, I was going to just send him the entire thing. But I wanted, like I said, I want to see what you guys wanted me to do. If you want me to send the major changes, I will. If you just want me to send the entire document and let him handle it, I'll do that as well.
I think he's just asking. I think he's just asking for the 7 major changes.
Yeah, that's what I would send them.
Okay, I can do that.
Will that make sense though to anyone, just the changes, if they don't know what's before that change and what's after that change?
Well, they'll see.
I'm going to do the same thing I've been doing for the minutes and for you guys. I'm going to show the part that we deleted and the part that we added. So there is clear, precise change in my email. It will show what we're omitting and what we're adding. That way it shows what it was and what we want to change.
Yeah.
So if he decides to make an entire article on all those changes, be my guest. But I think that's going to be kind of lengthy.
Yeah.
So that makes, I believe we have consensus on that issue.
Correct.
So next is if we present it to the council and then ask them for a vote or whatever to send it to, or direction to send it to legal for review.
We're going to do that for the next council meeting?
Well, yeah, I think that would be good timing. And
yeah,
Matt, I'd like you to present it. You know,
I would love to.
Voice.
We'd have to get it on the agenda. So,
well, that's the kicker. I kind of anticipated this, so I had a conversation with the manager already. I didn't want the ball to get dropped, so I had a conversation with him. As you two are aware, we talked about it briefly in the last council meeting. But if we are fine, set in stone, ready to go after we do this reading today, then I think we'll be okay. I can make a PowerPoint presentation, or I can do what we've been doing. Anything's fine by me, and I'm more than happy to present it.
One of those 15-minute presentations, yeah.
Yes. And the council already has a copy of this charter, so if they have any questions outside of the major changes, then they can ask us when we get there. I'm not going to go through every single change that we did, but if there's a question, they have a copy.
Right. Yeah,
Thank you,
that
Matt.
sounds good. I'll put that down. Town council meeting.
I'm just curious if Chuck has any questions. We haven't had many public participants, so I'm just happy to see somebody.
Really? Yeah. Say something.
Somebody's reaching out.
How do you know I haven't been watching these meetings before and not spying on you?
Well, that's why they're on
that you
YouTube,
would
so you
put
can
your
do
name
that.
in.
Yeah. You know, for those of you who don't know, but I am retired federal law enforcement, so you better
There you
check
go.
the bottom of your seats for microphones. I'm just joking.
We don't do executive committee meetings here.
Oh, don't worry, I have those recorded too, but those are different kind of microphones.
Oh.
Chuck, is there anything I can answer for you or we can answer for you before we start the readings?
No, I've read over the document previously. Nothing at the moment.
Okay. Perfect.
All right, let's get into finishing these pages up.
All right. C219, recall of elected officials added on 9/26/1985 by order number 4-85. Any person elected to any office in the town of Millinocket may be recalled and removed thereon by the electors of the town, herein provided. Part A, Section 1, we did shall wills once, twice, 3 times, and we added town of Millinocket once.
Mhm.
Section 2, we did shall will changes 5 times, and we added of Millinocket in the last gubernatorial election to the second or third sentence in the paragraph to be more concise on what actual election.
Did you say national?
Gubernatorial.
Gubernatorial.
Okay.
Just playing a joke on the last time we talked about this.
Yeah, I know. We had to look it up.
Yes. Section 3, we did shall will changes 2 times. And we changed municipal to gubernational. We added town of Millinocket once, and we added printed names to the voters to also follow the place of where they live.
Right.
To be a sufficient form of identification. Hearing no comments, moving on to section B, we did only shall will changes to this section, and we did that 4 times. Section C, we did the same thing, except we did that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. Oh, 7 times. In part D, we did shall wills twice, and we changed Millinocket School Committee to Millinocket School Board.
Mm.
And we did shall will one more time, and then we changed his to their at the very end.
Mhm.
Ending it off with E, we did only shall will changes, and we did that 3 times. Any comments on C219? Hearing none, moving on to Article 3, Mr. Town Manager. This is one of the major changes that we did. We did Town Manager will be chosen by the council instead of shall. And then we got rid of solely based on their character, and we changed that to be chosen by the council on the basis of their character and their executive and administrative qualifications with reference to their actual and related experience in or their knowledge of accepted practices in respect to their duties of their office as hereinafter set forth. We did 2 more grammar changes immediately after. And the first major change is we added but needs to become Gage just joined again. Needs to become a resident within 100 nautical miles of the town of Millinocket or within a safe commutable distance within 6 months of acceptance of contract. Any comments, concerns, or questions on C301? Hearing none, moving on to C302. We did shall will changes 4 times. We added town of Millinocket and 1 grammar change or gender change. On part A, we did 1 gender change. We made no changes to B. We made a change to C to read. We added a comma after fiscal year. And we also added by the end of the first quarter instead of as promptly as possible to be more clear with when we needed that document.
It's annual report. Yeah.
Correct. In D, we did no, we did two gender changes. We actually just omitted the end of it instead of messing around with that. In section E and F, all the only changes we made were we added town of Millinocket instead of just town. Section G, we omitted of him. In section H, there were no changes. Any questions to C302?
Nope.
C303, absence or disability, we got rid of his and we put the managers instead. In the second part, we did.
Hey, Matt,
Yes.
should there be apostrophe S?
On managers.
Managers, yes.
Yep, yes.
Yeah. Good catch.
To perform the manager's duties during a temporary absence or disability, and we added of 30 days or more. There wasn't a date in before, as you can see. We added 30 days or more. At the end of C303, we did another grammar change to read just the manager. We got rid of shall completely because it didn't make any sense. And we also got rid of or his disability shall cease because it's redundant. C30. Oh, any comments on C303?
No.
Nope.
C304, there was only one change, that was shall to will. C305, we did 3 shall will changes, and that was it. Moving on to Article 4, Department of Education. First part, C401, we did 1, 2, 3, 4 shall will changes. We omitted entire town and just did town of Millinocket instead. Moving on to C402, qualification of board members. We did 1 shall will, 2 shall wills, 3, 4, 5 shall will changes. We added town of Millinocket twice. We added during their entire term in office instead of during their term of office. And we had another major change to coincide with counselors. And that reads qualifications or is convicted of a felony or crime involving moral turpitude during their term of office. And we omitted be convicted of a crime involving moral turpitude. So it's a little bit more clear on what we actually wanted. We did 1 grammar change. Any comments? Moving on to C403, we did 1 shall omitten, and then we did 1 shall will change. C404, same thing. We did shall will 4 times. C405, we did shall will 1, 2, 3, 4 times. We added town of Millinocket. This is the second major change, and we added public schools. A draft budget will be provided to the counselors and public prior to the school board budget workshop to be sent out with public notice of workshop. Any questions on that section?
Yeah, not on the section. Just a little clarification for me.
Okay.
When I said when you send it out to the newspaper, if you send just the change, it's not going to make any sense to me anyway, unless it's incorporated into almost the entire paragraph.
I disagree. I feel like if I read that change, because it says right in it, I would do the entire sentence before as well. It wouldn't just be that one sentence. That way it was clear and concise. So it would read, the school board will prepare budget estimates and details of several
Okay.
sums required. I wouldn't just leave half a sentence in there. That would make no sense.
Yeah, okay, and I agree with that, Matt. I just was concerned that if you sent just the change, that it wouldn't make sense, or they wouldn't know what it really was in reference to.
Right. Nope. And I'm gonna put the entire sentence.
Thanks.
And whatever the newspaper does with it, they do with it, but I will do it the way that I feel like if I was going to read it, I would want to see it.
Thank
Chuck?
you.
Sounds good.
Yes, May I speak?
Yes,
I think I see a grammatical error in one of the sentences you amended where it says to be sent out. I'm looking at C405A where it says will be sent out with public notice of workshop. Shouldn't there be a said workshop or the workshop instead of in between the words notice and of? It appears that grammatically it should read the workshop or the word said workshop, or no?
oh, yeah, you're right, yeah.
It's missing a word there that might make it grammatically correct.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Well, not for my benefit, but just,
No, was the workshop better?
Yeah.
yeah, I think the sounds more appropriate. The workshop or said workshop or the aforementioned workshop, something that goes back to the workshop you're referring to.
Okay, I added the.
That looks
Yeah.
good to me.
Yeah, good.
Okay. Moving on to C405 Part B, which was amended on 1/6/1984 by Order Number 184. There were shall will changes 3 times, and this is the third or fourth major change in the document. And the reason for this major change is we invited the school, and basically the school said, this is what we're going to be doing in the future and what we've been doing. And we wanted to give them the chance to lay it out in the way they wanted versus what we wanted. And it really isn't that much different. It's just kind of moved around in order of how they do it. And some of the titles had changed, but that's the only major change. So administration went to system administration, instructional salaries went to school administration, instructional materials went to regular instruction, attendance and health went to special education, vocational education went to student and staff support, student activities and support service went to other instructions, student transportation went to career and technical education, operation and maintenance of plant went to facility maintenance, debt and services and employee benefits went to transportation, and adult education went to other expenditures. Any questions on B?
Nope.
All right, moving on to C, there were 3 shall will changes. That's it. Section D, there were 2 shall will changes. And we added our fourth or fifth major change is a completely new section, which will read, all filings of grant requiring cash flow encumbrance will require previous notification to the town manager and town treasurer. Any questions? All right, moving on to Article 5, C501 fiscal year budget year. We did shall will 4 times, and that's it. C502, same thing. We did it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Under subsection 1, we did town of Millinocket. In section 2, we did 1 shall will change. 3 and 4 had no changes. And in section B, there were 1, 2, 3, 4 shall will changes. So no big changes in this section. In C503, just a shall will change. C504, shall will change was done 3 times, 1 grammar change, and we added town of Millinocket once. C505, we did shall will twice, and we changed and kinds of expenditures to and programmed expenditures. C506, shall will 4 times, and C507 is reserved. C508, another major change, we added the school unencumbered appropriation will remain in the school budget as carryover amounts and cannot be spent until audited. Any questions or concerns? Chuck?
Another possible grammatical, the school unencumbered appropriation will remain in the school budget as a carryover amount as opposed to amounts and cannot be spent until audited?
Or you could pluralize the word appropriation.
Correct. Whichever,
Which I would tend to do because carryovers are all about certain programs doing better than expected and leaving money for the next year.
correct. Either one.
So how
But it
would
was-
you want it to read, Louis?
Add an S to appropriation.
Unencumbered appropriations will remain in the school budget as a carryover amount. Now you can go back to remove the S, yeah. That's my suggestion.
Anything else from anyone?
Thank you.
You would have to take the S off the amounts if you add the A.
We did.
Okay.
That's what
Right,
that's what Chuck was talking about.
Right.
C509, no changes to section A. In section B, we did 2 shall will changes, and that ends Article 5.
Yay.
Article 6, C601. We added 2 sections. We added section A, and there were 3 changes in that were all shall will. And then we added a completely new section, which is section B. Another major change, which is Millinocket property revaluations will occur in accordance with State Maine Law, Chapter 208. The reason why this is so bland, for lack of a better term, we are looking to get legal's more definite definition for what they want in this. That's why it doesn't look the way it does in the rest of the charter. We're hoping legal will tell us exactly how that should be laid out.
Yeah.
And it needed to be added because of what's happened and why we're doing the reevaluation now.
Correct. Chuck?
To limit yourself to chapter 208 only would then require you to go back and amend the charter again if the state of Maine were to change the chapter number.
Correct.
I would suggest inserting with the state of Maine law, and chapter should probably be capitalized, 208.
Well, remember,
Or
that's just
other-
a placeholder for legal to give us a definite definition.
Right,
By
or-
no means was that supposed to be like actual legal jargon. That was just a placeholder that we could
But
leave for.
I'm only concerned about the fact that you're limiting yourself to 208 when in fact if the state statute were to change, you might want to say or applicable chapter.
Yeah. I'm sure chapter 208 has had plenty of amendments and we're not stating that here. And as Matt's pointing out, legal should be broadening that out for us with the actual
Correct.
jargon.
Yeah. And that's the plan, Chuck. If there's any intention that's going to change, legal will tell us that if for some reason that does change, he'll lay it out for us so we won't have to amend it again.
Got it.
Any other comments on C601 section B or A? Okay, C602 shall will was 4 times. C603 shall will was once. We added town of Millinocket to section A, and that was it for that. And that moves us on to Article 7. Article 7, C701, 2 shall will changes. C702, 1 shall will change. C703, 2 shall will changes, and that ends Article 7. Pretty quick.
Nice.
Article 8, 1 shall will change to C801. C802 had town of Millinocket added. C803 was 1 shall will change. C804 is the same thing. C805 we did 2 shall will changes, and we added state of Maine law. C806 we did shall will twice, and that ends Article 8. Article 9, C901, no changes to the top. In section A, we did shall will three 3 times. We omitted shall be and followed it up with there instead of his. We added town of Millinocket and added a comma and got rid of and we did printed name. So same thing we did up above. We made sure that printed name was in there as a proof of identity. Section B, shall will was done once in 3 gender changes, and we omitted an S on the end of believes. Section C, we did town of Millinocket 3 times, shall will 3 times. C902, there was 1 shall will change. C903, we did shall will 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Added town of Millinocket once and 1 gender neutral change. Section B, we did shall will.
We also added on under A printed name, right?
Right.
Oh, my bad. Yes, we did add printed name as well.
That last town of Millinocket, you need to capitalize the T in town.
Thank you. Section B, shall will once and 3 gender changes. Section C, town of Millinocket twice, shall will twice, 3, 4, 5 times. Section D, we deleted a bunch of run-on sentences and added commas instead for better flow, and did shall will once. Chuck?
Can you scroll back a little bit? I thought I saw a grammatical error a little bit further. I'm on my iPad at the moment, not a desktop, so the print is rather fine. But it may have been in long in there. Let me see if I see it now. It had something to do with the printed name and shall be and will be followed by their address. That was okay. Maybe scroll down just a hair, please. Okay, I don't see it anymore. So disregard. I thought I saw like a word like the or something missing from whenever you were. Let me look one more time now. Town of Millinocket shall. Town of will call or will so town of will be suspended. Okay, it may have not been there.
Okay.
You did a good job of rolling through it so quickly. I was like, whoa. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
That's okay. C904, form and ballot. We did shall will twice. In section B, we deleted shall will, and we added or instead of and, because you can't check yes and no. You have to do one or the other.
Yeah.
C905 is reserved. C906, 1 shall will change. And that moves us on to Article 10, unless there's any comment.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't raise my hand quick enough, but you were
You're
going quickly. I can't do both on here. Can you go back to the part where the voter marks a check or that part? There we go. It's not really a cross, it's an X, unless you're religious. By a cross or a check mark.
Well, that's how it read before. We just left it.
Okay. Technically, it is not a cross. It's an X.
True. Thoughts from other people?
I go with the X.
How do you spell the word X?
X.
You put the
X in parentheses.
Seriously, you would put the X in quotation marks.
Okay.
The word X is an X.
Nope.
And I will be honest with you, you'd be surprised, and this is not a religious statement, but a cross is a cross and not an X.
A cross is a T.
How does that look?
Lowercase t is a cross.
That's true.
But I don't know if you should put it in parentheses. You would actually put it
Quotations.
in quotation.
Oh, that's what was said. I thought someone said parentheses. I'm not listening, as you can tell.
I did, but it was incorrect.
The use of the term check mark is self-defined. I mean, there actually is a mark you could have inserted in the document, but the word check mark substitutes. Unfortunately, there is no symbol for an X other than an X.
Correct. Any other comments, questions on C904? Okay, moving on. Article 10. Nothing in C1001. 1002, there's 2 shall will changes. 1003, 2 shall will changes. 1004, we did 1 grammatical change. We changed shall to will twice, and that was it.
We changed the spelling of matter.
Correct, that was the grammatical change.
Grammatical.
Okay.
Yep. C1006, we did town of Millinocket once, we did 1 gender change, and we did 1 shall will change. C1007, 1 shall will change. C1008, 2 shall will changes. C1009, 2 shall will changes, and we added town of Millinocket. C1010 is a completely brand new section. It used to be reserved. This is one of the last major changes to the document. We added municipal document review. Section A, an informal review of the town of Millinocket charter will be completed a minimum of once every 10 years. Section B reads the same, except it reads zoning code / subdivision ordinance book.
That probably should be plural ordinances. There's 2 different books.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Should be plural on ordinance because it's 2 separate books.
Will be completed a minimum once every 10 years. And C, an informal review of the town of Millinocket comprehensive plan will be completed once every 5 years. Chuck?
You caught the subdivision error. It either should be one word or hyphenated, but you got it.
Any comments on this section?
That was my only.
Okay. Anybody else?
Well, you might want to capitalize those 2 names, zoning code and subdivision plan. But yeah, they're ordinance books. They're both ordinances.
Would they?
Had to be.
Would you not then put ordinance books instead of ordinances book? So you would remove the S from ordinance and make books plural.
Yeah.
If you all agree.
Yes.
Looks good for everybody?
Yep.
Okay. 1011, 1 shall will change, 1 add of town of Millinocket. And congratulations, everybody. That is it.
Yeah, we're done reviewing.
C1012 has nothing. That's a state law.
What's that?
C1012 is just a state law.
Oh. Well, we're down to the next meetings on 10 or 11, but 10/18 is our next meeting.
And that will be agreeing to push it to legal review and making final adjustments based on the council comments.
Well, I think the council may direct them to push it to legal after you do your presentation.
Okay, so we're going to ask them to
We can do a motion. You can have an order or do a motion from the floor. They're both legal.
Okay. Any comments from anybody?
I'll be collecting my one penny from Mr. Bragdon. Mr. Bragdon, sir.
Right. Okay. I'll find that penny. Other than that, I'll get the presentation ready, and what I'll do is I'll send everybody a copy of the PowerPoint, and I will do that right now. That way I don't forget about it. If everybody would please send me back comments on how they feel about the presentation, if there's anything I should add, anything I should omit, Please, please, please let me know before Friday, because Peter gets the it's what I'm looking
Release.
for, Louis. Gets
Agenda.
the agenda. That's the word I'm looking for. He gets the agenda ready for Monday.
That was a hard one, Matt. Agenda.
Yeah, I'm exhausted. Okay, I've been up since 5 a.m. I'm ready to go to bed. So, if anybody can make or does want changes made, please send them to me before Friday. That way, I have the weekend to make them and give it to Peter as a finalized copy by Monday.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Well,
I'm
everybody-
gonna send.
Adjourn.
I'm
How
gonna
you like
send
that?
this new draft that we just made all the changes to the council again. Again, anybody has any comments, please reach out to me.
Okay.
Thanks for all the work, Matt. Thanks for jumping in there, Chuck.
Yes, thank you for showing up.
Matt, when you send it out,
Somebody has to be the token resident.
And nobody else wanted to jump in. They speak up, but they don't want to jump in.
We're gonna use your name, Chuck.
That's okay. It's been used before, mostly in positive way, I hope.
I can count on one hand how many people have actually participated in this
Yeah,
group.
really, for
Public
sure.
citizen.
So Matt, let's make sure we don't print up any other draft copies until maybe after it goes through legal.
And I'm
'Cause
fine with that.
It's a lot of paper, you know?
Well, the copies that Diana made all for you, there's very minimal changes. It's just the changes we made here tonight, which
That's
is not
right. That's
grammatical.
the one. That's the one I've got in my book and I'm working from, so.
Yeah, it's everything else is just grammatical. So what we made like 5 changes tonight. It's nothing serious. I'll just send a digital copy, and if anybody has any questions, they can ask.
Cool.
Thank you, Matt, for all the work. I think you saved
Yeah.
us an immense amount of work by doing what you did.
It's
You
not
may-
done
in your
yet,
present-
but when we're done, you can thank me.
Matt, in your presentation, you can mention that we're going on 3 years in this process.
Yes, and also like to point out, if the lawyers come back and says I need to move all those shells back to, or the wills back to shells, I'm gonna quit.
But you remember I told you so.
I will listen to the I told you so.
We're gonna change it, I told you so. I like it.
Right.
And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, that's why they make the find and replace mode on your Microsoft Word.
Well,
Yeah,
Chuck,
they
here's the
certainly do.
thing. I did that to start with, except I had already started working on the code book in preparation for possibly doing it in the future. And it changed 10,000 items. And because it did that, every change we had already made, it tried adding it to them as well. So I had 2 shall, wills,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
was a nightmare. So
Gotcha.
it took a couple of days for me to fix it, but I don't want to do that again.
No, you
You
have
did
to
it
make
piecemeal
sure when you
after
push
that.
that button, you do it one word at a time and click and continue to click instead of having them replace them all and then go back and find out it no longer grammatically makes any sense either.
Right. Alrighty, everybody. I'm gonna
Take
start that
care.
PowerPoint and I'll send it to you in about an hour.
Very
Thanks,
good.
Matt.
Thank
Thanks,
All right.
Matt.
you. Bye.
Thank you.
You guys.